There are three types of epithelial tissue that we see in the respiratory system: stratified squamous, respiratory epithelium, and simple squamous. Stratified squamous, its purpose is to resist abrasion. The many layers of squamous cells allow for something rough to pass over the surface. The outer cells can come off without damaging the tissue underneath. So we see stratified squamous epithelial tissue in places that are likely to encounter rough structures. So for instance, the vestibule of your nasal cavity, which sees a lot of fingers during your lifetime, that is coated with stratified squamous. Also the parts of your respiratory system that are shared with your digestive system, that's the pharynx. That has to be covered with stratified squamous epithelium because food, or what you swallow, can sometimes be rough as well. So that's stratified squamous. It doesn't occupy a lot of the respiratory system. The two primary tissues that we see are respiratory epithelium and simple squamous epithelium. Respiratory epithelium is also known as ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium, which is the term that you learned in Bio 23. It is a columnar epithelium with cilia on the top. This red is the basement membrane. There are cells in here that produce mucus. The mucus then sits on the surface of the epithelial tissue, and when you breathe in debris, the debris sticks to the mucus, and then the cilia sweep the mucus away. This is called the mucociliary escalator because, for instance, in your windpipe or your trachea, when debris lands in that mucus, the cilia are actually going to sweep it up away from the sensitive lung tissue, and it will go up to the place where the esophagus meets the respiratory system, and then it goes down the esophagus and you swallow it, and that's how we clean our lungs. We find respiratory epithelium in the nasal cavity, the part of the nasal cavity that goes, that's behind the vestibules, in the larynx, in the pharynx, trachea, and bronchi. Now, I've got pharynx here and pharynx here. There are parts of the pharynx that are shared with the digestive system. Those have stratified squamous. There are parts of the pharynx that are not shared, and those have respiratory epithelium. The final epithelial type of tissue that we have is simple squamous. This is only found in the alveoli where we're doing gas exchange. The whole point of simple squamous epithelium is to allow for rapid diffusion, so it makes sense to have it there. Just a reminder, this is the basement membrane and one thin layer of epithelial tissue, which, because it's thin, is why it allows for rapid diffusion.